Educating students in rural settings is an important part of public education in America. More than half of all school districts and a third of all public schools are in rural areas. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, over 12 million students attend a rural public elementary or secondary school, accounting for 25% of all public school students. Unrecognized by most Americans and often overshadowed by the nation's attention to dropout challenges in urban settings, more than one-fifth of public schools in rural America have higher than average dropout rates. Because of their remote locations and more limited resources, schools in rural communities often have less access to high-quality technical assistance than schools in other communities. For this reason, the U.S. Department of Education's High School Graduation Initiative program provided dropout prevention support and technical assistance to grantees and districts across the country. This video highlights dropout prevention efforts in rural districts and schools in Wyoming. In Wyoming, high-quality career and technical education, CTE, is helping students find and pursue an area of interest while completing high school. This preparation is important for students' education and their future economic success. CTE programming is geared to students' interests and the employment opportunities in the state and in the local community. Today, Wyoming is implementing 16 different career clusters in its middle and high schools, which engage students in hands-on learning in such areas as green construction, welding, and culinary arts. Students in Wyoming gain vital and relevant experience for future employment through these hands-on learning experiences and through the positive and supportive relationships formed with their instructors.
Our programs are geared primarily toward the industrial base in our region. So it's pretty apparent when you look in this building. You know, we have a very robust associate's degree nursing program here because we have need for it. We have a hospital that has need for nursing. We have the Wyoming State Penitentiary south of us that has need for nurses, doctors around this region, and so that particular program is geared toward that. We have an electrical and instrumentation program that is geared toward Sinclair Refinery. Anybody who's going to be an operator at Sinclair needs to understand instrumentation. We have that program. And then, of course, the fundamental trades, welding, woodshop, auto mechanics, and then pre-engineering, all of which are designed to support local industries.
Working with the community with workforce development, that's the other part of it. It's not only what the students are interested in, but what kind of career opportunities do we have? What kind of workforce are we going to need down the road? The Chamber of Commerce, we have all of our business partners, those people have been very helpful in helping provide us with some direction. So some of it's kind of common sense in that we have oil and gas, and we have coal mines, and we have trona mines, and we know what our industries are. The health occupations, I think, fit anywhere in any community. But we also had a tremendous amount of students interested in the military, police officers, firefighters, and those types of things. So we're constantly reviewing what the kids are interested in, kind of offer classes that they're going to want to take to meet the needs of the community and the students.
It's our job to expand the students' minds. If you ask a child, what jobs can you get in the healthcare? They're going to say, a nurse or a doctor. Well, there's 1,000 other jobs that should be introduced to them. They're so tunnel vision. What jobs can you get when you're in public safety, policeman or fireman? There's 1,000 additional jobs, and they need to see those jobs and how it relates to them.
The health occupation academies, the first year they research diseases. They have guest speakers come in from different health areas, not just doctors, but we've had flight people come in. Second year they do job shadowing, and they take business law and nutrition. They conduct a health fair, and the third year they job shadow and they blog community service. Energy Academy is based towards energy, and it fits in so well here because that's what we are. And if you look off the side of the road, then these kids have been to those places and they know what they do. And so we have guest speakers there. Our juniors have been divided into groups, and They've gone to Solvay, they've gone to OCI, the different mines, and they've actually had tours right down in the mine.
What we do is we've gone with a fully integrated program where we take a math teacher and a CTE teacher, and the two of us work together to design the curriculum so that it meets the standards of both of us, but is very real world. So, you know, originally what we were looking at was angles and volume and issues like that, but it's taken on a new level because we've always recognized our link with business and the real world. We're looking at production schedules, we're looking at budgeting costs, where we're at as a percentage. So we're constantly looking at it from the business lens as well.
You know, soft skills is a term that career and tech ed people do, but a lot of educators may not be aware of. But those are those intangible skills that you need to be successful in anything you do. Work ethic, being on time, being responsible, being able to work with other people, communication skills, those are all critical skills for success.
Teaching the kids in the field is easy, I mean, because we're just transferring on a trade. It's teaching the systems that you can't see, designing the systems for efficiency. It's these soft skills. You know, is that the way we ask this, or probably not? How do we address people in the community? Those are a little harder to do than teaching how to read a tape measure, how to run a tool, or how to texture or something like that.
We want students to be able to communicate with adults and not just communicate with kids. When we talk to the business sector and we ask them, what do you want from us? And when we do that, they usually talk about two main things. They want kids that can work together. They want them to be able to collaborate and communicate within a group for a common goal, and they want them to be able to communicate. So one of the things that we try to do is we do a lot of soft skill work. How do you shake someone's hand? How do you greet someone? When my students are job shadowing, they might be in a situation where they're not having a mind-blowing experience, maybe at the emergency room or in a doctor's office, but they can still make contacts. And if they focus on that, then being able to make those contacts is going to help them in the future. And we try to really stress that to our students.
We go into an awful lot of depth with some of my more advanced students. We do when it comes into the automotive shop, we get into quite in depth into motors, a lot of different things. But again, the biggest thing that I'm concentrating on is trying to get these kids to understand what they'd like to do after high school.
I grew up around, my grandpa used to tinker on his old Ford, and I always wanted to help him learn how it worked, and decided if I knew how to do it, then I didn't have to pay the big bucks for someone else to do it. I started my sophomore year, and I've been doing it ever since, learning how to do suspension, axle swaps, to rebuild an engine, anywhere from electrical to all the mechanical processes. I just kind of stuck with it. Really the only class that they have the dual enrollment is the construction trades program, which I currently take that as well. They have it so it goes through the Western Wyoming Community College, where you can get both high school credit and college credit for passing the class. It's free to us. They worked out that with the teachers in the school district, so it's wonderful.
That is a really, really nice program to be able to do is the dual curriculum. And so like I said, we're trying hard to be able to try to get our dual curriculum in line where we can offer more classes to more students.
Tell you, and you'll see them down here, if you were to spend some time down here, they're fairly easy to pick out because you'll see them, they're not just in the welding shop, they're down over here, and they hang out, and you almost have to run them off with a stick. So they're over here in welding shop, they're over in the auto shop a little bit, they're the ones that you can't quite run out of here at 3:30 at the end of the school day. So those are the ones that the program has engaged with. And you'll see that you look at their other grades and so forth, and they're struggling in their academic classes. So whether they're coming every day just for the welding class or the auto class, that's hard to say. But our programs have something to offer them, and they're the ones that are down here all the time. And there's a common theme with those students because they're enrolled in many of our CTE programs, not just the welding program.
One of the guys I know, he was not interested in any of the math or English part of the school and high school at all. And so when he decided to take a welding class, he ended up enjoying it and then finding that the math and the English actually do help for his field.
Yeah, I mean, kids that don't like coming to school, they don't really have anything to look forward to, but in welding, you get to make projects, and we've built fire pit, a smoker, and a couple other things, and just something that kids can look forward to and want to come and attend class just so they can work on it.
I think any career technical class, they're all project-based. You do. And there's that one saying that I learned by doing. But basically, they're all hands-on. They have to do and think at the same time. And when you do that, you're actually learning something, which is exciting. Learning something that way keeps students coming into school. And I think that, I hear from students all the time, they'll come back and tell me, your class kept me in school, that's the reason I graduated. It's the only reason I graduated. I wouldn't have been coming into class if I didn't have your class. And so I hear that from kids all the time. But specifically, I think it's because students are able to they're able to be themselves, they're able to be human. And that's not sitting in a desk and staring at an instructor talking. I think the Socratic method of delivering information has its uses, but practicing something where you're using your hands and your mind at the same time, that's more memorable, and you learn that way. I think that's exciting.
He's kind of teaching us about life. Like, if you fail at something, he'll be like, never give up. I honestly think that's like his biggest motto, never give up, because if you fail, it's just one way, it doesn't work.
I think that's what keeps a lot of the kids re-engaged too, is a teacher that cares about what they're doing, that has their best interest, but a whole class full of students that are part of their team, their peers, and their identity.
When I came back to school, I really didn't like the club. The teachers at Transitions are awesome. That's like one of the reasons why I stayed. But when I got introduced to this construction class, this is like the only class I really want to come to. This is the class like I want to wake up in the morning and I want to show up. I want to be here. I want to try, and like it's just like he was saying earlier, it's hands-on. It
gives you a chance to get out and actually do something.
Yeah, and you're learning something. It's not like, oh, you're sitting there and you might forget about it later. You're actually learning it right there.
When we designed the program, we didn't design it to lower the bar. We raised the bar up. We articulated with the college in 2 courses. We're working on our 3rd articulation. We're bringing in our OSHA certifications, and the curriculum and content, we actually raised the bar on it, and the students responded to that. So what they're doing here is very consistent with what they do at the college level too. So we've had success when we've asked more for students instead of less.
It keeps you in school because they give you an opportunity to either get your life in line or you don't get to. You have to be here every day and you have to set a goal for yourself, and they make sure that you set that goal and you keep it.
The military science class started 4 years ago when I was a freshman, and they had a really big class the freshman and my freshman year, and last year I think was a big class.
Yes.
It's basically a course that teaches you some of the basic things you'd be learning if you went into the military. If one person makes a mistake, then it's a whole team and the leader gets punished. Like, it's not just a single person out, it's a whole team.
Rather than just teachers, they become like your aunts and uncles or your grandmas and grandpas. I mean, I consider Mr. Meds like a grandpa to me. In a situation where I need something, I know that I can depend on him as a person to help me. whether it be I'm stressed out with school or whether it be something as serious as I'm in a car wreck and I need help. Like, I can always depend on my teachers to be there. It's not just, oh, turn your assignment in. It's, are you doing okay today? And that means so much more to me than what I've been introduced to.
Yeah, I can for sure be reassured if any situation that I can count on them, honestly.
Going back to our very first year, we had students who were right on the verge of being dropouts. Two sisters who graduated in the first cohort, one from the Energy Academy, one from the Health Academy. The one sister had picked up the paperwork to be a dropout at the end of her freshman year and decided, hey, I'm going to give this a shot. They both had children before they graduated from high school. Both walked the line the same day as everybody else in the class of 2012. And I think there are a number of success stories that we've had with some of those different kids.
I mentioned the student that was a first-time graduate, and it was very important for her to do that. And her family was pretty excited about the fact that the support that we gave them and that the students in the academy gave them. I think that's an important thing. Teachers give support, but I think we form that support with the students. And when they know that they can go to a student or they know that they can get help on homework, everybody's in this together. And that's the community piece that we build, the relationship piece. So a student like this that was the first-time graduate was successful because she was part of this program.
You know, there's not a coincidence that the beginning of our Career Academy process ties directly into our graduation rates being over 80% now. Two of our highest graduation rates ever. The first graduation class from the academies in 2012 was almost 82%, and our most recent graduation rate was almost 84%. And traditionally, we were a 70% graduation school. We talked earlier about how the two academies, the demographics are the same as they are across the building, but the two academies that have graduates already, Fire Law Leadership isn't there yet, their graduation rates are well into the high 90s.
It's my first year in ProStart, but I got put in the ProStart 2 class because I was the only ProStart 1. So I kind of got thrown in there, and we cook, we do all kinds of things, and we get to choose. We get to cook. She'll go, here, we're going to make this, but you guys pick out the recipe. And so it's really nice to be able to go, oh yeah, we get to actually, learn hands-on and get to cook anything that we want, that we're comfortable with.
I've been to a couple bigger schools, and it's definitely harder to get work done and to get extra help. But with this being such a tiny school, I feel like the teachers have more time to focus on you and more time to help you out and, actually talk to you about your grades. So I think that really helps for our school to be strong academically. Because if you need the help, it's not a choice of whether you can get it or not, it's whether if you want it or not. And I really like that about the school.
We're not big like other schools, so we get a lot of time with our teachers, and we get some longer periods, and we all kind of grew up knowing each other and our family. Like, I've known Miss Wonder for years before she was even my teacher, so I've experienced working with her, and I've had, the same, 10 classmates since kindergarten, and it's a really big, just one big community.
Just to open as many doors as possible. They might enjoy the cooking but want to be in the hospitality. So even if they don't go on into a career of it, every one of these CT classes are going to benefit them in a positive way in the long run.
I said, this is Wyoming, and a lot of our students live here because they love the great outdoors. They want to stay here, and they want to have a career that will allow them to be in the outdoors. But we also have the largest field station, BLM field station here in Rollins, the largest one in the state of Wyoming. And so we are working with the BLM and the Natural Sciences program over at Western Wyoming Community College to put together some basic courses for those students here in Rollins that would like to have a career in wildlife management or watershed management or something like that, so that they can have the basic courses here, they can get their basic biology, they can get their basic chemistry. And the nice thing is the local BLM field office is just a nest of well-trained people with master's degrees and PhDs in chemistry and biology and the necessary fields. So, one of the other ways that we put together programs is we listen to what our students would like to do with their lives and their careers and try to make that possible given some of the resources that we have locally.
A lot of our classes for college are offered online, they're distance ed, and we try very hard to find teachers locally who can teach for our students so they have an opportunity to be in a classroom. But it's the opportunity to talk to a professional in your field of study and get an idea of what it's like and what you want to do. But you don't have to drive or leave your family or leave your job or anything like that. You can do it here.
I really talk to these kids an awful lot. We take them over to Western Wyoming, trying to get them to understand that there's, what they can do over there. We have an awful lot of people come in and talk to them throughout the year to be able to understand all the different things that they can do and different places they can go from.
I have plans of going to college, and personally I want to either become a neurologist or a neuroscientist because I love how the brain works and I love learning about it. It's just, it can never get boring to me. It's so interesting to learn how we function, and that it's all just kept in one organ that spreads throughout the body through the nervous system. It's amazing.
I would say I plan on going to UW. Not sure what career choice yet. I'm just kind of going with the flow, but for sure I'm looking into nursing because recently I job shadowed there, and it's a really neat experience that you get to have with the kids that you work with, and I don't know, I would like to do that.
Job shadowing has definitely helped me see what's out there rather than just doctors and nurses and chiropractors. Like I just job shadowed with a respiratory technician, and it was amazing. I went through the entire hospital with him, and I got to work with a wide variety of people, from infants all the way up to people in their 80s and 90s, and it was so fun. I got a shadow in the surgery room actually where they did a bronchoscopy and looked through a lady's throat and looked at her tumor in her left lung. It was so interesting, and everything was so hands-on. It wasn't just, okay, sit here and you're going to watch me do paperwork. It was, okay, we're getting up and we're going to go do stuff. It's fun.
They're more engaged with the students. They have completely felt their whole career being revived, and they've stayed long past retirement age because they're enjoying the educational opportunities themselves. So it's just a win-win. When we take our kids out to industry and they are finding out all the safety rules and things like that, kids complain about our little dress code that we have. It's like you take them into industry and there's like 5 books this thick of safety rules. It's like, these don't go away. These are really, this is work readiness of teaching them how to follow rules, and you have to be on time at work and all those kinds of things. So it's reinforced, even though the teachers are constantly trying to tell them, parents are telling students the same thing, but when they observe it in industry and they see somebody sent home because they forgot their steel-toed boots, it's like, okay, that's a real life experience. So it really, my main goal with the career academies is always career and college readiness. So you want them to be prepared for all of that, but it all comes back again to those soft skills. Those are those intangible things that you learn from life experiences that really help you be successful in whatever you want to do as you go ahead.
For the construction program, in just the 3 years that I've been taking it, we went from just being a bunch of people learning how to do it. They put us through OSHA 10, for construction and safety, and we've been building houses. The first 2 we built were we auctioned them off for people to buy and own. And then this year we're actually giving back to the higher ed by building like a small dormitory for the nursing program for those people that want to come over and get their CNA and all that. They actually have a place to stay.
One of the other things that is required of all of our students is to do community service. So over the course and as the academies have evolved, anybody who's doing anything in Rock Springs contacts the high school, and we list all the opportunities for the kids where they can go in and volunteer. But they're all over the community. And some of them, like the Health Academy, might be related. They're at the nursing home helping, or they're doing something specifically at the hospital to help them cater an activity or something like that. But also just anything at all where they need extra hands to help people move or to pitch in any way. Our students are all responsible for logging so many hours every semester.
Seeing, like I said, with other schools, like they have hundreds of kids to deal with, teachers do, so they don't really care as much as a kid ditches, or here, like when someone ditches, they want to know. Like it's a lot harder to ditch here because they worry about you more than other teachers do at bigger schools.
And the people at Transitions who teach us, they don't let you give up on them. They make sure that you come every day, and they make it a point to call you if you're late. They make it a point to make sure your grades are good. They do everything that they possibly can to keep you here.
Well, we've had students from high school graduate with anywhere from 12 to 54 credit hours.
Well, the beauty of it for the student is that by statute, if they're getting high school credit for these courses, there can be no charge to the student. So the tuition, fees, books, and so forth have to be picked up by somebody else. With the concurrent enrollment classes, it's just basically a wash. Western Wyoming bills the school district bills Western Wyoming Community College for the same amount for space and professor's time and so forth, and it's a wash. Our board actually pays for the dual enrollment courses, and we have a line item in our budget that for every student who takes a dual enrollment course and gets high school credit for it, the Carbon County Higher Education Center board pays the tuition and fees for that.
Honestly, it's life-changing, because when you come into a new place not knowing anybody and being accepted into a new culture and having people become, like, they're so nice. Everyone's so nice and so welcoming. And I have to say that really helped me to thrive here. I came in here thinking, okay, I just want to get through high school, graduate, and I'll go to college and I'll be okay. It's so much more important to me now to make connections and to meet people and to have real conversations. Never have I experienced something this amazing, because I've never had so many people care, and I can't even begin to say how grateful I am for that.
We've talked about it at length with our kids, and I know our academy teachers talk about it all the time, that regardless of what your next step is after you graduate from high school, you will have post-secondary education. That may be on-the-job training. That may be, a certification program at the community college. That might be a 2-year, a 4-year degree. It may require a doctorate degree. But regardless, whatever you do when you leave high school, you are going to have some kind of post-secondary education. And for our kids to be able to see a lot of that in the job setting, I think helps them understand that I'm not going to just walk into the police department with my high school diploma and get hired as a police officer. That doesn't happen. I'm not going to be able to be a doctor and have a 2.1 GPA when I graduate from high school. Those types of things I think are critical. And really the programs that we have in place, these 3 career academies, we're hitting all of the Hathaway requirements for our students. We're giving them multiple opportunities to earn additional scholarships. So we're really setting them up for success in that post-secondary education, regardless of what it is.
What happened is we are like other places in Wyoming. We go through boom-bust economies, and we've just recently gone through a tremendous economic boom, and we are now on the downslide of that, moving into the bust period. And what happened with the boom is we had people who had high school educations who were picking up $100,000 and $120,000 a year working in the oil patch. And they'd have a $70,000 job. When you add the overtime to it, it becomes a $120,000 job. And they had absolutely no education, no advanced education, maybe some training, but in many cases not even that. But now that we're on the downhill side of that, all of a sudden it's becoming apparent that that was sort of a false economy, and that in fact education matters, whether it's the training that we get in the welding shop down the hall here, or whether it's the training that we get, the education we get by going to Western Wyoming Community College or the University of Wyoming. So it's a complicated economic structure here that is a strange balance for things, but I think overall people have recognized that for the long term, believing in education is your best bet.